Some things are better left unsaid. Take it from me, some things are better left unsaid.
Hello and welcome to this week's Unspoken episode 17. This week we're going to chat about rich man and poor man, or rich people, poor people, and just the divide between which is more becoming what's the word?
Chasm.
A chasm. There we go. The chasm between the two of them. John, remember we used to? Well, I don't know if you still do it, but when I eating an apple, I have, and it has a stalk, then I'll twist it, and you have like Tinker Tailor Soldier Sailor, rich man, poor man, beggar man, thief, etc., etc. And that came to mind when I was thinking about, when we were discussing what we're going to speak about this week. And it's interesting to say poor man, beggar man, thief, and it in society, especially growing up in South Africa, we saw it quite a bit more. But even over here, you see a lot of poor people. I don't know if you do. How's it over there in New Zealand? But over here, you see poor people on the streets, in the sleeping out in the streets. They're begging, and it feels like it's like the progression um, where you're poor, and then you're a poor man, and then you're a beggar man, and then you become a thief because, well, I'm not saying everybody becomes a thief, but I'm saying you can see why people go into that lot because, I mean, they don't have anything. Well, they have to put food on the table. They have a family, whatever the circumstances happen. I'm not condoning, thieves. I'm just saying that you can see that seems to be the progression sometimes. Why are there so many poor people when there seem to be a lot of money out there that can just solve everybody's problems?
Yeah, just saw a stat recently that during this pandemic, the top rich people have grown in billions, over 10 billion, 20 billion. The highest amount of wealth income was 90 billion of growth since the pandemic started. And in the same article, they were saying that people are losing their jobs in the bucket loads at the same time. And it does seem to be a massive contrast, a bigger contrast than 10 years ago, or as we were growing up. It does seem to be an issue of people not being taken care of. I would say that in the UK, New Zealand included, maybe even in America, there are less poorer people, or maybe they're taken care of slightly better, but there definitely still are people on the streets, still people living out there from their cars. And if I had the full answer to this, then I think we might not be able to solve it. So the answer to why are there still poor people is a struggle. It's maybe it goes back to pride again. Maybe it goes back to what people are focused on, what they're wanting to serve. I mean, I think people who are poor or have experienced need are more aware of people who need, who are in need, and maybe richer people just aren't on that level or don't understand something. Maybe that's the reason.
Do you think poor people are poor because of lack of education, or is it bad decisions, or is it just by accident? Or because I know one thing that I saw a stat as well. I think it was yesterday or today, and it's saying during lockdown now, and it lasts from July, August, 1.4 million people lost their jobs, became unemployed. Just here in the UK, within 2 months, 1.4 million people. So, I mean, these are people that had jobs. These are fine working, hardworking. They've got to where they were. It's not just People think, oh, you're unemployed, you lost your checkout job. And I'm not saying anything's wrong with the checkout job. It's great to have a job. Any job is a great job. But what I'm saying is it's not just that those people that lost their jobs. I've met people who are history. They were in the history, teaching history. I've met people who are accountants. I've met um, all levels, all walks of life, all levels of education that have lost jobs. So
mm, mm,
if they were in a situation they were living close to the breadline or their finances, which a lot of people do, their finances are stretched to a certain way that they're maxed out almost. They living on the end of the month, maybe they have £5 extra or
mm,
10
mm,
or less. Maybe they live in the red. So if they have 1 month of no work, that's possibly them out on the street. And then basically it knocks them off from middle, where let's say they have a job or surviving, or let's say middle class, to
mm,
poor in a matter of 1 month.
mm.
So I know my question initially what do you think makes a poor person? So let's give that let's give that back to you.
Yeah, so I think there's different levels of to answer to that. I think one of them, one box is definitely education. People aren't necessarily wise with their money, or they're not super clued up on how not to overspend.
Mm,
Just generally, people want a certain lifestyle, possibly, and they don't know how to cook, perhaps, and go out to eating. So there's certain things. I think one of the answers to that is that um, in the middle there, you can maybe save money in different ways. You can, ask for help and go to organizations that could help and teach you how to think about money differently.
mm,
Um, I mean, you hear stories of people winning the lotto and then being poor again in a very short space of time.
mm,
And I think that particular category is education. If you poor and then win the lotto, then surely you should be able to invest in certain
mm,
areas, and then not be poor anymore. It's like just and if you have the education, or if you have the background or whatever, then you wouldn't spend the money in that way and become poor. So I think that's one issue. And then one I would like to touch on, and we can go back to some others perhaps, is that I think there is a line of that when you are rich, when you are able to get over a certain line, and you have the education or you have the understanding, then you just are able to be a bit more comfortable, or like things work for you. One of the examples is that if you in a company and have a job, then some companies pay for your petrol to drive around, or to pay for your car because it's a company car. They want a particular view of their company. And so what happens then is that you're not paying for that car, whereas everybody else needs to pay for petrol, needs to pay.
mm,
And so you can save that money. And that's probably the part that I struggle with the most, I think, is if you have everything and then you just can't get over there. If people are living paycheck to paycheck, they can't get over that line, get over the place where they are efficient with their money, and people are, like people, even like rich, like superstars, they get given free stuff
mm,
left, right, and center because of their wealth or because of
mm,
their status, and they're not the ones that need it. Like they like free seats at this sports shop place and free cars, and I don't know. And I find that strange is that they end up not paying for things, and then you know
mm,
um, but
mm,
also I think the last one that we can maybe go with is some people are just not in the right place, so and are not given a leg up and not given help. People on the street, I think some people could want to be there, prefer to be there, but I think many of them just are educated and have lost their job and have ended up on the street, and can't get further if they don't have help.
mm.
And so I think one of the issues is that there's not enough interest in helping people on the street. In the UK, how many people on the street do you see, and do you find like in London, is there a lot of people, or people sleeping in cars? Is that still a thing?
Yeah, well, it depends where you go. Obviously, with any country, with any town. But yes, the cities do have more. Over here in Bournemouth, which is just around the corner from us, um, you go there early in the mornings, and you see the people on the streets, in the doorways, quite a few. I know of a few people um, that are involved with the homeless, and some of them are by choice. Some of them, as you said, they just prefer living on the streets. They just liked it. Others don't. As you say, it's when it's very psychological. Once you start going down the spiral and despair, and you're feeling worthless, and um, it's a mental becomes a mental thing,
Mm.
and then it's difficult to get yourself back up, um, motivated. It's a it's people say money makes money, and yes, it can, but it doesn't because money just sits there. Um, but it's an attitude, it's a positive attitude. It's like being happy. If you're a happy person, you walk into a room and you're positive and you're like, hi, how's it going? People are going to be positive back to you. So you basically positivity and your attitude is what's breeding more attitude, more good attitude. So if you're
Mm.
negative and I'm like, oh, I can't do this, I can't do. So you're just going to basically dig a deeper and deeper hole, and difficult to get out of. So what rich people, what I find with a lot of people that I've met, that are wealthy, they have such a great attitude towards life. They're like, life is good, everything's good. They're meeting people. They're like, how's it going? Let's do business
Mm.
together. Yeah, let's do. Oh, great. Yeah, here's an idea. Yes. Oh, yes. Let me give you some more money for that. That's a great idea. Let's do that. Because it's a attitude. It's a vibe. That they're generating around them, and that's why people just get into business. You meet more people, and yeah, let's do business with that guy. He's such a great guy. Such a positive attitude, and yes, he's going to go places. Um, so I think a part of it is realigning um, your attitude with what you have. You can. I've had friends who were um, also, when making money, basic jobs. We weren't making much money at all. We're just paying the bills. Had a bit extra yet to go out for a few drinks here and there, but the way their attitude was, and the way they drove that beat up car, the way they did it, was such a nice, great attitude that when they walked, they got good jobs. They got better and better jobs because they
Mm.
just did that. They saved up a bit and they bought nice, good clothes that they felt good about themselves. So when they went for a better job opportunity, they came with this confidence and and the person that was giving the job into doesn't know what type of car he has outside, doesn't know what type of house he stays in, doesn't know his bank account details until he hires him. Um, so it's I would say it's an attitude make positive attitude generates positive attitude. Um, so
How then would you suggest people start getting this type of mind thinking or type of attitude? I think it's problematic if you the answer then people might be saying that, well, if you're raised in a certain environment and then you are taught how to have this type of style
mm,
attitude and how to think about things, and so what people could be, one of the arguments of poverty is that no, if you raised in a certain income level by your parents, and then you can reach higher levels. But if you
mm,
raise, on a certain level, then you don't know that. So how does it all rely then on how you were set up in the beginning? Because or can there is there's outsiders like people on the street get a lift up and they have a great attitude and that works, but the majority, can a person living in a poorer economic environment become get a good attitude and get a good job like you are suggesting?
yes, I think everybody can. We're all in the same race. Yes, I must 100% agree. I mean, people that have money handed to them and had better schooling and better opportunities, they are ahead in the race. They started ahead of the people that didn't. Um, but we're all in the same race. Um, and it's yes, fine. They'll probably get to whatever their destination, what they've decided is their finish line. They'll get to possibly faster.
Mm.
Um, but it's still the same race, but it's a moment that we think we're not in the race. If you think, no, actually, I didn't get picked. Oh, I didn't even make the team. I'm not here. I'm actually not. I'm not going to bother. I'm just going to sit
mm,
here. I'm going to wait for handouts, or I'm going to. It's anybody can get jobs. Anybody can get work. Anybody can come up with an idea to generate money. Um, it's as simple as going to your local supermarket or your greengrocer and buying two apples, or buying an apple and going down the street and selling it for a little bit of profit, coming back and buying two apples, going down the street, selling it for, coming back, buying four apples. You know what I mean? It's it's basic as that. It's not rocket science. You don't have to come up with a PayPal. You don't have to come up with IBM. You don't have to come up with Amazon idea. You don't have to come up. Oh, I need to come up with this brilliant idea. It's a basic. It's a basic as taking the money you have and seeing what you can do, blending a bucket with a sponge with some soap, blending it from anybody, and trying to wash somebody's car. This and this, give me £3, £4 to wash your car. Starting there, it's it's an attitude of, I don't want to be in the situation where I am now. I want to step it up. I want to step up. I want to stand up and be better in life. And that's the attitude, because a lot of people are very happy to be where they are. Here in the UK, the government gives you, if you don't have a job, they give you money. If you don't have a house, they'll give you a roof over your head. They'll give you money to live. It's not a huge amount, but there are people, when you have children, you get more money. So there are people that just are happy with that. They'll just take the government's money and just live there for the rest of their life. They're happy. It's mediocre. You know, I can do it. And if that's their choice, that's it. That's up to them. But it's it's a yeah, we mustn't think that just because I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth, or I wasn't in the best school, or I don't have, 100 grand or 10 grand or 1 grand in the bank, that I can't actually be successful. That's not at all. The truth is that even if you have £1 in your hand, or 50p, whatever you have, you can start the race towards being wealthy or being successful in your eyes.
Yeah, so just to challenge a little bit, I, I, have you ever gone and sold an apple? Have you ever gone and bought? I think I haven't. I haven't gone out and bought two apples and sold one and ate the other or something like that. But I don't know. It sounds slightly simpler than if it was that kind of simple, then people would do it. Surely,
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you, but I've been. They weren't apples. I've baked donuts to sell. I went and
Mhm,
bought. I went to travel for during the night. I went and organized fish markets. I picked up scallops and stuff from divers. I drove them from Exeter all the way through to London, driving. Selling them, organizing. And they
mm,
would add nothing. And literally, I had a car that I could do it in. I had a phone, I had internet, so I could find out who these people were. That I could arrange it with. Um,
mm,
okay, there weren't apples, but it it
mm, mm,
it's similar. Um, on let's backtrack a bit. You were saying that some some rich people seem to get things, and it's very true.
mm,
I actually saw an article was today where the government handed massive 122 million pound contract for PPE to a company that only existed for a month. The company's only been running for a month, and here they go, 122 million. I think this particular article was referencing the fact that um, it seems that the government's giving contracts to people they know, or friends or family or connections
mm,
like that,
mm,
which is another thing. It's it's money. It's being kind of thrown at people,
mm,
um, but it could be okay. That's a big contract, so we're not maybe a bad example, but if you have a good attitude, you could be meeting wealthy, well-to-do people that have have opportunities, um, and you could be in similar, well, like maybe not that situation, but you could be in situations where they say, listen, that Jonathan Healy, he's a great guy. I really like him. I know he's just started a small thing and it's small, but I think I'm going to give him a chance. Let me give him this big contract, this massive job, and there we go. One job, whatever, one contract, and that's you. But if you like, oh, actually, I met this guy, but actually, I don't want to work with him because he's such a negative Nancy, and um, it's. I think that your success is totally relates to your attitude. Success and attitude go hand in hand.
Mm, mm. Um, I think it's fair. I think it's I don't think it's fair on the people who have a good attitude and aren't successful.
Mm,
That statement. I think I met people on the street and who are just depressed, I guess,
mm,
and they're not depressed because of their choosing, but they're depressed because they've, as you've mentioned, alluded to, like many people have lost their jobs and live
mm,
on a very little line, or owe money, and so now they are up in the street and are are negative and are struggling, but it's not kind of like not like choosing every morning like, okay, well, let's be negative today.
mm,
So I appreciate that it can have a lot to do with attitude, but also I understand that there is people that uh, are clinically depressed or depressed or in a state where they have no ability to level up their um, emotions or
mm,
ability to smile
mm,
when they're shaking the hand of a person that's important. They manage to get dressed as smartly as they can, and then
mm,
like they know this is important, but their level of emotions is not gonna, they just don't have it in their tank to
mm,
make a better impression than the next
mm,
person. And so, yeah, I back what you're saying with attitude is extremely important, but I do know that it's not always up to the person
mm,
that they are able to change their attitude or in a position in a mindset or surround it with friends or whatever the case to get the lift up, to
mm,
get that to leg up. But yeah, I think part of this question I would like to engage in is the word success and the word poverty or versus richness. Um, you alluded to a little bit of some people um, are happy in a certain environment, and so the question is, what do you think is rich? What is wealth, and what is richness? Is providing enough food for yourself and your family, is that rich, or is that on the line, or what? Let's get a quickly of a scale of richness.
yeah, well, I think everybody's definition of rich and wealth is different. I know some people say that you're only really rich when you uh, can retire comfortably and then have enough money that will comfortably take you through to whenever you die. And then people say they say that wealth and rich is two different things. You know, Often people refer to wealth as a more holistic thing where you feel I have a family, I have kids, I have a loving, I'm wealthy because I am content with where I am in my life. I might not have the
Mm,
biggest house or whatever thing, but I feel, um, personally, I strive to get to a place um, where I don't have to be dictated to what I do from 9 to 5. That is my decision. That I don't have to wake up to an alarm. Um, that I'm in control of my daily life really. So if I I'm my own boss and I don't have to worry about things necessarily in the sense of my company's running, it's doing well, or the products that I've come up with and invented and so are doing well. So there's a certain amount of money that is just ticking over. I don't. But then I can wake up and do things that I feel that are more important than making money, which I feel,
mm,
you know, helping other people that are in this situation. in a situation where they don't have things, they don't have money, they're poor, and they're basic. They need education, they need a helping hand, and I can feel like I can comfortably go help these people because I don't have to worry about having to work from 9 to 5 and putting food on the table because that's being sorted.
Mm, mm. I enjoy that. I think for me, I would probably be happy with a job that uh, is that I'm happy to do. So I don't mind waking up and going to work. I enjoy being part of society and enjoying that. But if I'm in a job that kind of pays me and is able to, uh, also put food on the put food on the table and stuff, but that I'm enjoying, I think I would be happy with that type of level of not richness. I don't think I'll ever be rich in terms of rich, but in terms of wealth, I think that would be okay with me. I like waking up in the morning and really making a difference in people's lives, or and then getting paid, and then being able to afford a house, and then and the small things. I don't necessarily would like to. Yeah, I mean, getting self-sufficient and not needing getting income from somewhere random, that would be great. But yeah, I think I'd be rich or wealthy if I'm just providing for my family and doing whatever I'm doing is of benefit to others. And that could be, yeah, it could be that I'm in a position of that, or that whatever my work is, I still, I still dictated to what I'm doing, like 9 to 5, but I think it's of value. Just as we Remy wrap up and stuff, I'd like to touch on the chasm part of this conversation. I'm not sure what the number is to fixed poverty in the world. I'm sure there's a number, or, in the billions or whatever the case is, that somebody has, right? I don't know exactly how to fix it. Is teach people or plant enough type of trees that populate themselves, and then everybody can eat from it or whatever. But why is somebody not just putting in a mass load of money and fixing poverty? Is it possible to fix poverty? And if not, we see all these adverts like, oh, this child is, needing food, or the child has TB, and I'm sorry for them, I really am. But there's some person in, top 1% of the world that has stacks of money, and maybe they don't care, or maybe, and I don't know. I want to know if they can inject 10 billion bucks into the rest of around the world, Africa included, and around, and then it's fixed. Is that possible? And if it is possible, why not? Or yeah.
Okay, quickly. Yeah, the thing is, I've asked that question so many times, because you see, as you say, you see these things and it rips my heart out. The amount of times I've had tears coming out my eyes because looking at this, and especially having children myself. And the thing is, poverty is a bit of a black hole when it comes to throwing money at it, because it just sucks it up. For instance, if you let's just take a random example. If you went to have to go build toilets to improve people's lives in India or Africa or something, you build the toilets. You spend millions, billions. Let's take Nigeria, for instance. I think Nigeria is one of the poorest countries in the world, and you had to go make sure that everybody had toilets to use. It's not a once-off thing, because those toilets need maintenance, and they'll break, and then they need change, and they're fixing, and then they need repair. So you spend more money on them, and it keeps going. Then so it's not like a relief thing. It's not like a quick fix, because it's a state where they are. They need. So it's an education. You need to educate everybody. Then you need to find a solution. Okay, how are we going to feed everybody? Okay, we need to build. It's basically it's building a country. You literally, it's a whole infrastructure that you have, a foundational infrastructure that you have to build to cover the hole that sucks all the wealth, all the money. So yes, you see these starving kids, and you can send money so that people can be fed all the time, and you can keep sending food there, which is great. It's a good place to start. Feed the people. Once they're fed, you can educate them. and then you can then you can start teaching them and say, okay, let's educate you. Um, why people don't do it, I don't know. I don't know if it's just the same as these big factories that are all becoming automated. You have these massive factories that used to employ hundreds of people, and now they decide, well, actually it'll be more cost effective and easier if we just put a bunch of robots in that do it. So they do that, spend millions, billions doing that, and then they 200 people out of work, just another 200 families that are poor, that have no money, um, just because it's actually a little bit easier and easier, quicker to do that with technology. So we're going
Mm.
to be seeing more and more of that. You already see it where jobs are becoming more automated and it's taking less people. It used to take 100 people, now it takes 10, and then used to take 10 people, now it takes one guy going around on his computer just to check that everything's fine. So that's where the chasm's becoming, because technology is going, it just becomes easier. It just where so the rich people become richer because we are buying into whatever they're selling,
Yeah.
um, and then the poor people become poor because the people that make it quicker and easier to sell it to us. So it's difficult. It's a difficult one. I think I think the best thing we can do is to each help those we can with what we have. Um, if you make an extra 10 quid that you can afford to give to somebody that really needs that 10 quid or the $10 or whatever you are, do that. Send that £10. Because I mean, over here, over it's like $10. I'm like, okay, well, I'm not going to be able to have that takeaway that I normally like once a week. But then for somewhere in India or Africa or South America or Asia, wherever you choose to send it, um, with the conversion rate, it could mean that whole family gets a meal for that week or that day. And I think if we all start like that and think, rather than trying to solve how am I going to solve world hunger and how am I going to fix poverty, let's all of us just sacrifice maybe one small thing, one little treat, or one something, and pay it forward a bit and say, listen, I can't help everybody, but I can help that one person, because that one person could get food in belly, could become educated, could become a smart person that can invent something smarter to solve poverty.
Mm, mm. Also, I think in a similar way, if you're not thinking worldwide, you can think local.
Mm-hmm.
You can think you help the one person on the street that you keep driving past or that you're walking past, or if you're in a church environment, you help the person that is struggling, and then they may can help you next time. So I definitely think I like the idea of helping what you can, helping in the environments where you can. And yes, there's some people that do choose a lifestyle, and if you're walking past them and that's what they want to do, then not judging them perhaps might be helpful. But I like it. I think we don't have to necessarily solve everybody's problems on one shot, but if you do, help the people that's local, or just quickly example, I saw a person giving a job, on a street person. They were a manager of a fast food chain, and they gave him a chance, cleaned them up, and gave them a chance, and he mentored them for a short time, and it was a happy story on the ending. But it was just giving a guy a chance, just giving a person an opportunity to see if they can make it. So I like it. I do think we don't have to solve the whole thing, but we can make small steps to get to solve it.
For sure. Yes, for sure, John. That's a great conclusion. Great topic. I think it's important just to stay positive. Whatever you want to, whatever you decide, what your level of success is, whatever your goals of where you want to go, think of ideas. If you struggle to think of ideas, find people that can help you with ideas. Stay positive. Surround yourself with positive people. Surround yourself with the people that you want to be with. If you want to become a rugby player, you go hang out with people that play rugby, because you'll become a rugby player or a better rugby player. If whatever the situation, if you want to become a fisherman, you hang out with fishermen and become a fisherman. So whatever people you want to be like, you surround yourself with. Be positive and pay it forward where you can.
Yeah, that's great. Good place to stop there.
Good place. Thank you very much for joining us. As always, please like and share. If you are listening on iTunes, then please leave us a review. It will help. I know we're on episode 16 now, but it's always good to get reviews and likes and shares. And as always, thank you for your comments. Thank you for letting us know how you feel about this. And until next time, John, we'll see you on the flip side.
Yeah, bye.
Bye-bye.
Some things are better left unsaid. Take it from me, some things are better left unsaid.